The royal chamber was so quiet that Elias could hear his own heartbeat. He stood at the center of the alien court, surrounded by towering pillars of glowing crystal. Soft blue light flowed through the walls like liquid stars. Hundreds of alien eyes were watching him. None of them blinked. Elias had trained for this moment for years. He was supposed to represent humanity, calm, respectful, and careful. One wrong word could ruin everything. And today, humanity needed this meeting to succeed. This was the first official contact between Earth and the Velorian Star Empire, a civilization older than most human history. They controlled entire systems. Their fleets could erase planets. At least, that was what the rumors said. Elias swallowed. The Velorian court stood in perfect silence as a massive door at the far end of the chamber slowly opened. A wave of cold air rolled across the floor. She had arrived. Princess Seralith stepped into the hall. Every alien immediately lowered their gaze. Even the armored guards straightened like statues. Her presence filled the chamber like gravity itself. She was taller than Elias expected. Her armor shimmered like polished starlight. Thin lines of glowing symbols traced her skin, pulsing softly with each step. Her eyes shone silver, sharp, ancient, and impossible to read. Elias suddenly felt very small. He remembered the briefing clearly. Do not speak unless spoken to. Do not make personal remarks. Velorian royalty considers casual speech an insult. Simple rules. Very simple rules. Princess Seralith walked down the long path toward him. Each step echoed like a drumbeat. Elias tried to steady his breathing. He repeated the rules inside his head. Stay calm. Stay quiet. Stay professional. She stopped just a few feet away. Her silver eyes locked onto his. Time froze. Elias felt the weight of an entire empire pressing down on him. His throat tightened. His thoughts tangled together. He wanted to say something, anything, to break the silence. And that was when his mouth betrayed him. Your presence is impressive, Elias blurted out. The words left his lips before his brain could stop them. The silence that followed was absolute. The glowing walls dimmed slightly, as if the chamber itself was holding its breath. Every alien in the court froze. Elias immediately realized something was wrong. Very wrong. A low mechanical hum filled the air. Elias glanced to the side. The royal guards had activated their weapons. Thin blades of energy extended from their wrists, casting sharp light across the floor. No one spoke. No one moved. Elias felt cold sweat run down his neck. He replayed the sentence in his head. It sounded harmless. Respectful even. So why did everyone look like he had just declared war? Princess Seralith did not blink. Her silver eyes remained fixed on him, studying every twitch of his face. The pressure in the room became suffocating. Behind Elias, the human diplomatic team shifted nervously. One of them whispered his name in panic. Elias understood now. He had broken the rule. Not just a small rule. A sacred one. Among the Velorians, only warriors or equals could speak to royalty with personal familiarity. Compliments about presence or strength were considered a challenge or a claim of status. To them, Elias had just placed himself as her equal. Or worse, her rival. The chamber trembled with quiet tension. Princess Seralith took one slow step forward. The guards tightened their grip. Elias's heart pounded so loudly he was sure everyone could hear it. His training screamed at him to apologize, but he didn't know if speaking again would make things worse. The princess stopped inches away. Up close, her glowing markings flickered like distant lightning. Her gaze pierced straight through him. Elias felt exposed, like she could see every fear he had. Seconds passed. They felt like hours. Then, to everyone's surprise, she tilted her head. Not in anger. In curiosity. The tension in the air shifted, just slightly. Elias forced himself to breathe. His instincts told him to remain still. Any sudden movement could trigger disaster. The princess spoke at last. Her voice was calm, but it carried the weight of command. You speak boldly, human. The translation device in Elias's ear trembled as it converted her words. No one else dared to move. Elias swallowed hard. I meant respect, he said carefully. Where I come from, we compliment strength and presence. It is meant as honor. Another silence fell. The court waited. The guards did not lower their weapons. Princess Seralith studied him for what felt like an eternity. Elias could see calculations happening behind those silver eyes. Was she deciding his fate? Humanity's fate? A single breath passed. Then another. Finally, the princess stepped back. The weapons powered down. The entire chamber released a silent wave of tension. But no one relaxed completely. Her eyes remained on Elias. Your words walk the edge of insult and admiration, she said. Few survive such balance. Elias didn't know whether that was praise or a warning. The princess turned away slowly, her cloak trailing like liquid light. This human, she declared to the court, will be evaluated. A ripple of whispers spread through the chamber. Elias's stomach dropped. Evaluation did not sound friendly. The princess paused at the doorway, glancing back one final time. Her silver eyes locked onto his again. And for a brief moment, he thought he saw amusement. Then she was gone. The chamber doors sealed shut with a thunderous echo. Elias stood frozen, realizing the truth. One nervous compliment had nearly started a war. And whatever came next would decide humanity's future. The silence after the princess left felt heavier than before. Elias stood in the center of the chamber, unsure if he was allowed to move. The glowing pillars slowly brightened again, but the warmth did nothing to calm him. Hundreds of alien eyes still watched him, not with curiosity now, but with sharp judgment. Two Velorian guards stepped forward. Their armor hummed softly as they stopped on either side of him. They did not touch him, but Elias understood the message. He was no longer a guest. He was a problem. Human Elias, one guard said in a flat voice. You will come with us. Elias glanced back at the human delegation. His commander looked pale. A diplomat gave him a small nod, a silent message to cooperate. So Elias walked. Every step echoed through the grand hall. The alien court parted to let him pass, their glowing eyes following his movement. Some stared with anger. Others looked curious. A few looked almost excited. As the doors sealed behind him, Elias felt like he had crossed an invisible line. The corridor beyond the chamber was quiet. The walls glowed with faint silver light. Strange symbols shifted across the surface like living writing. Elias tried to read meaning in them, but they changed too fast. He focused on breathing. You complimented her, he thought. That's all you did. But clearly here, that was enough to shake an empire. The guards led him into a circular room. The doors closed with a soft hiss. The chamber was simple, smooth walls, a single raised platform, and a floating ring of light above it. A holding room. Elias stepped onto the platform. The air hummed. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ring of light flickered, and Princess Seralith appeared in its glow. Not physically, this was a projection, but her presence still filled the space. Elias straightened immediately. Her silver eyes studied him again. You understand, she said calmly, that your words have caused disruption. Elias nodded. Prince, but I meant no insult. The princess tilted her head slightly. In Velorian culture, she said, to speak of a ruler's presence is to measure power. It is a challenge or a declaration of equality. Elias swallowed. That was not my intention, he said. Humans show respect with compliments. It is normal for us. The princess remained silent. Elias forced himself to continue. When we admire someone, he said carefully, we say it openly. Strength, intelligence, presence, these are honored traits where I come from. Her glowing markings flickered softly. You speak without fear, she observed. Elias almost laughed. He was terrified. But something inside him pushed forward. Fear is there, he admitted. But hiding respect feels wrong. I reacted honestly. The princess stared at him for several long seconds. Somewhere outside the chamber, voices rose. Muffled but intense. The royal court was arguing. Seralith turned her gaze slightly, listening. Elias could see tension in her posture. The nobles demand punishment, she said. They believe your words were deliberate. Elias felt his stomach tighten. Punishment. For a compliment. What happens now? He asked quietly. Her eyes returned to him. You will stand before the court, she said. You will explain human intent. If your reasoning fails, consequences will follow. Elias's pulse quickened. What kind of consequences? He asked. The princess did not answer directly. In Velorian law, she said evenly, insult to royalty is answered with balance. That did not sound good. The projection flickered as distant voices grew louder. The nobles were not calming down. Saralitha's expression hardened. You are fortunate, she said. I sense no deception in you. But my court is bound to tradition. They will demand proof, not emotion. Elias nodded slowly. I will explain, he said. That's all I can do. Her gaze softened, just slightly. Few outsiders face Velorian judgment and stand steady, she said. Do not lose that balance now. The projection faded. The room fell quiet again. Elias exhaled shakily. He sat on the platform, hands clasped, replaying everything in his mind. Every briefing. Every cultural lesson. None of them had prepared him for this moment. Somewhere beyond the walls, an entire empire debated humanity's fate. And somehow, it all rested on him. Minutes passed. Or hours. Time felt strange inside the glowing chamber. Finally, the doors opened. The guards returned. It is time, one said. Elias stood. His legs felt heavy, but he forced them forward. The walk back to the royal chamber felt longer than before. The air buzzed with tension. When the doors opened, the sound of raised voices filled the hall. The nobles were arguing openly now. Some demanded exile. Others demanded public punishment. A few called for war, claiming humanity had shown disrespect on its first meeting. Elias stepped into the center of the chamber. The voices stopped. All eyes turned toward him. Princess Saralith stood at the throne platform, calm but watchful. This human, she declared, her voice cutting through the hall, will speak. The nobles fell silent. Elias felt every gaze press into him. This was it. Humanity's first true test. He inhaled slowly and began to speak. The royal chamber was silent. Hundreds of glowing alien eyes focused on Elias. The air felt heavy, like a storm waiting to break. He stood alone in the center of the court, a single human surrounded by an empire that could erase his species with a command. Princess Saralith watched from the throne platform. Her expression revealed nothing. This human will speak, she repeated calmly. Elias swallowed. His heart pounded, but his voice needed to stay steady. He took a breath. I did not come here to challenge anyone, he began. I came to show respect. A murmur moved through the nobles. Some folded their arms. Others leaned forward, waiting for him to fail. In human culture, Elias continued, we speak openly when we admire someone. Strength, leadership, presence. These are things we honor. My words were not a claim of equality. They were a sign of respect. One noble stepped forward. His armor glowed red with agitation. Convenient words, the noble said sharply. Humans hide insults behind politeness. Elias turned to face him. If I wanted to insult your princess, Elias said calmly, I would not survive long enough to explain myself. Humans may be many things, but we are not foolish. A ripple of surprise moved through the chamber. The noble's glow intensified. You speak boldly for a fragile species. Elias nodded slightly. Yes, he said. We are fragile. Compared to your empire, we are young. We lack your fleets, your history, your power. He paused. But humans survive because we adapt. The court quieted. When we meet something stronger than us, Elias said, we do not always fight. We learn. We observe. We change. Princess Saralitha's silver eyes narrowed with interest. Our strength is not only in weapons, Elias continued. It is in understanding. We study culture, emotion, behavior. That is how we grow. Another noble scoffed. Words, the noble snapped. Empty survival tricks. Elias looked directly at him. Then why am I still standing here? Elias asked. If humans were reckless, if we ignored your customs, I would already be gone. The noble hesitated. Elias pressed forward. I made a mistake, he admitted. Humans do that. Often. But what defines us is what happens next. He gestured to the court. I'm here. Listening. Explaining. Learning. That is human strength. The chamber grew quieter. Even the guards seemed to lean in slightly. The angry noble stepped closer, trying one last push. If your species is so adaptable, he said coldly, prove it. Show respect now. Elias nodded slowly. He turned toward Princess Seralith and lowered his head, not in fear, but in deliberate acknowledgement. In your culture, Elias said carefully, respect is shown through measured words. I honor your traditions, and I thank you for allowing me to explain mine. The translation echoed through the chamber. The nobles exchanged uncertain glances. Elias had adjusted. He had learned in real time. Princess Seralith stood. The motion alone commanded silence. She descended the platform, her armor glowing softly. Each step was calm, controlled, deliberate. She stopped beside Elias. The difference in power between them was obvious, yet he did not flinch. The princess addressed the court. This human speaks truth, she said. He acted from his culture, not from malice. Some nobles shifted uncomfortably. Seralith continued. He admitted fault. He adapted his behavior. He honored our tradition, without surrendering his identity. Her gaze swept across the chamber. This is not weakness, she said firmly. This is strength. The nobles fell silent. Elias felt tension drain from the air like a slow exhale. The princess turned slightly toward him. You stood before an empire, she said, and chose understanding over fear. Few possess such balance. Elias let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Seralith faced the court again. The human's words will not be punished, she declared. Instead, they will be remembered. Shock rippled through the nobles. Let it be known, she continued, her voice ringing across the chamber, that humanity values communication, adaptation, and honesty. These qualities are not threats. They are bridges. The room was still. No one dared argue. The guards lowered their weapons completely. For the first time since arriving, Elias felt the weight on his shoulders lift. Princess Seralith extended a hand, a rare Velorian gesture of alliance. Elias hesitated only a moment before accepting. The chamber glowed brighter, not with tension, but with recognition. Humanity had not proven strength through force. It had proven strength through understanding. Seralith spoke one final time. Let this moment mark the beginning, she declared. Not of conflict, but of cooperation. The nobles bowed reluctantly. The court accepted her judgment. And Elias, a single human who spoke without thinking, had turned a near disaster into the first bridge between two civilizations. As the chamber slowly returned to calm, Elias allowed himself a small smile. One mistake, one explanation, and humanity had earned something priceless. Respect. Subscribe if you want to see how a chained gift becomes a chosen bond.